Have you ever wondered why the seemingly chaotic hiss of static or the rhythmic crash of ocean waves can quiet a racing mind far more effectively than absolute silence? It is a fascinating paradox of human biology that introducing sound can actually create profound mental quiet. When we lie in the dark, craving rest, total silence often acts as a magnifying glass for our anxieties and the tiny, unpredictable creaks of the night. Research shows that our brains remain active sentinels even as we drift away, constantly scanning the acoustic environment for subtle threats. To understand this nightly vigilance, we must look deeply into the auditory cortex, the region of the brain responsible for processing sound. Even during the deepest stages of rest, this neural gateway remains wide open, continuously evaluating every acoustic signal that enters our ears. If a sudden noise breaks the silence, the auditory cortex immediately signals the body to wake up, viewing the abrupt environmental change as a potential danger. This evolutionary mechanism kept our ancestors safe, but in the modern bedroom, a passing car or a barking dog can shatter the fragile architecture of our rest. This is where the brilliant science of white noise comes into play, serving as a protective acoustic blanket for the sleeping mind. White noise contains all frequencies across the spectrum of audible sound, played at an equal intensity. By saturating the auditory environment with a steady, predictable stream of sound, it effectively masks those sudden, jarring interruptions. The brain, no longer startled by isolated spikes in volume, can finally lower its defensive guard. As the masking effect of these continuous frequencies takes hold, a profound shift occurs within the autonomic nervous system. This complex network, which controls our involuntary physiological processes, begins to transition from a state of sympathetic alertness to parasympathetic calm. Heart rates slow down, breathing deepens, and the muscular tension we carry throughout the day begins to melt away. The steady acoustic stream signals to the physical body that the environment is safe, allowing the surrender necessary for true restoration. Beyond simply blocking out the world, scientists have discovered that specific acoustic patterns can actively shape the electrical rhythms of the mind. Brainwave activity dictates our state of consciousness, shifting from the rapid, high-frequency waves of waking life to the slow, rolling currents of deep sleep. By introducing carefully calibrated sounds, we can gently guide these neural oscillations, coaxing the mind toward the specific frequencies required for optimal recovery. One of the most captivating discoveries in this field of neuroscience is the phenomenon of binaural beats. This acoustic technique involves playing two slightly different tones simultaneously, one in each ear, typically through headphones. For instance, if a frequency of 200 Hz is played in the left ear and 205 Hz is played in the right, the listener does not simply hear two distinct competing sounds. Instead, a remarkable auditory illusion is born within the mind. Deep within the brainstem, a structure called the superior olivary complex processes these two frequencies and reconciles the mathematical difference between them. The brain perceives a third phantom sound, a rhythmic beating that pulses at exactly 5 Hz. This perceived beat does not exist in the physical room. It is an entirely internal creation, a localized neural response to the dual acoustic input. Once this phantom rhythm is established, a fascinating biological process known as neural entrainment begins to unfold. The electrical pulses of the brain naturally tend to synchronize with the rhythmic stimuli they are continuously exposed to. As the auditory cortex processes the steady, low-frequency pulse of the binaural beat, the surrounding neural networks begin to mirror that exact same frequency. The mind is gently led, step by step, down the staircase of consciousness, following the tempo of the soundscape. This entrainment is particularly powerful when designed to encourage delta waves, the slowest and highest amplitude brainwaves, typically ranging from 0.5 to 4 Hertz. These majestic rolling waves are the undisputed hallmark of deep restorative rest, formerly known as Stage 3 NREM sleep. During this critical phase, the body repairs tissues, synthesizes vital hormones, and consolidates the memories of the day, making delta wave generation essential for our physical and cognitive health. As the mind sinks into this delta dominant state, the architecture of the entire sleep cycle becomes more robust and resilient. The journey through the lighter stages of rest into the profound depths of deep sleep and eventually into the vivid landscapes of REM sleep flows with greater ease. The acoustic environment acts as a steady handrail, guiding the sleeper safely through the intricate cyclical stages of nocturnal recovery without the typical fragmented awakenings. It is a common misconception that our brains simply power down when we close our eyes, slipping into a passive, empty void. In reality, the sleeping brain is a highly active symphony of coordinated electrical pulses, chemical washes, and memory processing. By introducing purposeful soundscapes, we are not shutting the brain off. Rather, we are providing it with a harmonious conductor. The acoustic input organizes the chaotic neural chatter, allowing the intricate work of cellular restoration to proceed without interruption. Integrating these soundscapes into a nightly routine is a cornerstone of excellent sleep hygiene. The consistent use of specific audio cues signals to the mind that the transition from the waking world to the resting world has officially begun. Over time, the brain develops a conditioned response to these sounds, so that merely hearing the familiar hum of white noise or the gentle pulse of a binaural track triggers an automatic biological cascade of relaxation. The benefits of this acoustic conditioning extend far beyond the boundaries of the mattress. When the auditory cortex is shielded from disruption and the brain is allowed to complete its necessary cycles of deep rest, the quality of waking life transforms. We wake up with a renewed sense of emotional resilience, sharper cognitive focus, and a profound underlying calmness that permeates our daily interactions. The disruption of rest once clouded our clarity, but now, optimized recovery sharpens our daily perspective. To fully appreciate this transformation, we can look back to the natural environments in which human sleep originally evolved. Our ancient ancestors did not sleep in sealed, perfectly silent rooms. They rested to the continuous, low-frequency sounds of nature, the rustle of wind through leaves, the steady flow of a distant river, or the rhythmic patter of rain. These natural soundscapes provided a continuous acoustic baseline, a reassuring signal that the surrounding environment was stable and secure. Modern science has categorized these natural frequency spectrums into colors of noise, expanding our toolkit far beyond traditional white noise. Pink noise, for example, has a balanced energy profile that mimics the acoustics of the natural world, with lower frequencies amplified and higher, harsher frequencies softened. It sounds less like television static and more like a steady, gentle rainstorm, making it exceptionally soothing for those who find standard masking sounds too abrasive for comfort. Even deeper on the spectrum is brown noise, which drastically reduces high frequencies to produce a deep, resonant rumble, akin to the distant roar of a waterfall or the low hum of an airplane cabin. These deeper frequencies are particularly effective at soothing an overactive autonomic nervous system. The deep resonance mimics the comforting acoustic environment of the womb, tapping into our most primal biological memories of safety and containment. As you prepare for your own rest, consider the acoustic landscape of your bedroom not as an afterthought, but as a vital component of your overall well-being. You might begin by simply listening to the ambient sounds around you, noticing them without judgment, before introducing a continuous, calming frequency. Allow the sound to wash over you, feeling the physical vibration of the tone gently coaxing the tension from your jaw, your shoulders, and your chest. The gentle art of mindfulness still offers its solace here, as focusing your attention on the steady rhythm of a soundscape prevents the mind from wandering into the anxieties of tomorrow. The sound becomes a reliable anchor, a focal point that requires absolutely no effort to maintain. As you surrender to the auditory stream, the boundary between the listener and the sound begins to blur, facilitating a seamless, peaceful drift into unconsciousness. This intentional approach to our auditory environment represents a profound shift in how we view the science of sleep. We are no longer passive victims of our surroundings, simply hoping for a quiet night. We are active, informed architects of our rest. By harnessing the predictable responses of our neural pathways, we can engineer environments that reliably produce the deep, restorative slumber our bodies desperately require to thrive. From the masking properties that shield our nightly vigilance to the rhythmic entrainment that guides our electrical pulses, sound is a remarkably powerful biological tool. The careful application of these acoustic principles transforms the modern bedroom into a scientifically optimized sanctuary. The inner clock continues its gentle work, now fully supported by an environment perfectly tuned to the natural frequencies of human recovery. Ultimately, the neuroscience of soundscapes invites us to harmonize with the fundamental rhythms of our own biology. By understanding exactly how the mind responds to the unseen vibrations of the air, we unlock a deeper, more peaceful relationship with the night. As the frequencies align and the neural chatter finally fades, we are left with nothing but the profound, restorative embrace of truly optimal rest.